new here, go check us out on Spotify at Submerge Podcast, on YouTube, and on Instagram to go catch up on our latest episodes.
Yes, welcome back. We had a little break, which was very necessary. Things were complicated with end of school year, with work, with travel. So we're absolutely chuffed to be back with you guys, and to celebrate kind of things ending, right? You brought this idea to me, Camila, which I thought was fantastic, to look at really the transition year, not only from COVID lockdowns to full-on high school, but also celebrating a 1 year anniversary. By the way, happy anniversary! We've been a full year now in Florida, right?
Yes.
And so we want to talk about that. So Camila will be kind of leading the conversation today. And then I've got a little bit of odd news. We can't escape our favorite segment
Of course.
to conclude. But just before we kick things off, I wanted to remind folks that, hey, I'm wearing the t-shirt because the Celtics are in the conference finals. We've won the first game, so big up to the Celtics. Talking about Boston, a lot of new music came out on May 27th. Millie's new album, shout out to Millie's, Blanco 5, Fire, Nicholas Craven, Latin Quarter Part 1 with Akhenaton, Seth Gecko on June 2nd, his new album. He gave me a little emoji hands prayers, or whoever works for him did. Merci beaucoup, Seth. The Cranes episode, I forgot if it was episode 9 or 10. The Cranes keep growing.
Yep, they're pretty much grown. They're learning how to fly.
They're learning how to fly now. Their wings have expanded. They're almost doing like a Top Gun runway thing. The Top Gun movie came out too.
Right, I seen that today. So maybe we'll do a review on
We'll
that.
do a review because
really
I've seen it, and then I won't spoil anything, but I'll wait for you.
I'm excited.
You're excited. It was very good.
Yes.
And then the Aha movie also came out earlier in May, worldwide and in select theaters. So we'll take a chance to also look at that, review it. So a lot of exciting things have happened, and that's what happens when you disappear for a bit.
Yeah, sorry, but
No.
finals were a priority.
Yes, there were. School before fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, kick us off today, Camila. We're calling this ain't
High School Musical.
no High School Musical. So
Yeah.
you'll explain what it is. So the floor is yours, my dear.
Right. So I just wanted to talk about coming back from a COVID year and coming to school, and kind of the observations that I've made and the lessons that I've learned this year. I feel like this year especially was a really big catch-up year for me, and coming back, making new friends, and I moved to a new state. So there was a lot of desperation to make friends and have that stereotypical high school experience, because I know most of our parents are always like, oh, I had a blast in high school. I was doing this and this and this.
Because we did. Well, no, it was awkward too, but there were easier times. So I think that's
Right.
what you're trying to bring up.
We're trying to fulfill that. People always say, oh, high school is so much fun, have fun. But there's a lot of things you have to take care of before you can have fun. And like one of the first things I noticed when I came to high school was everybody was so awkward. And I think it didn't help that we had just come off of a year that was completely virtual. For me, I was stuck in my room in the basement for an entire year. I didn't make any friends, and freshman year is supposed to be an introduction to high school and kind of slowly getting the machine moving, where sophomore year, I think it was kind of, it was my hardest school year, but I think I lost freshman year to take the time to adapt. So there's that, but the whole social aspect was so disappointing to me, especially when I moved to Colorado in 8th grade. People were so extroverted, and people were trying to include me in their friend group, and they were saying hi and introducing themselves, and I get to this year and people didn't want to talk to you, and I'm not really the type of person to go up to somebody and be like, hi, my name's Camila, nice to meet you, but I'll definitely have a chat with you if you introduce yourself to me. I have to become comfortable with you first, and that just wasn't happening. So there was a time where I was alone for several months and trying to figure out who I wanted to be friends with, but it didn't really help that people are just the phone, I feel like people are so awkward. Like, I don't know about your generation and moving so many times. I don't know if you had the same experience as me, but people wouldn't, so they don't talk. People are so awkward. Like, you're like, oh, can you show me where my seat is? Or can you show me where this class is? And they're like, go ask the teacher. And I'm like, well, what?
Yeah,
And
I think it's a combination of, well, let me comment on it. It's obviously very sad to see your child, not have that typical high school experience and be stuck in a basement. Um, and then if everybody was encouraged to put on their camera, started turning it off
right,
because they didn't want to pay attention, or
right.
they dialed out, right?
Yeah, people also got like so insecure with that camera stuff. Like, we were like, oh, I look bad and whatever. And then they're like, oh my gosh. I remember texting my friends and being like, oh my god, I have to go back to school. Now I have to like look good and all these things. I'm like, why am I having anxiety about going to school?
Well,
it was such a normal thing in our lives, and now it's like almost like a chore. I felt like a chore to me, like having to go to school and socialize with people. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to like go talk to people. Like,
it's the same thing at my work, and I think for a lot of people at work, where now the cameras, after 2 years, it's almost like a necessity. Like, you need to show your face to show that you're a human, and we forget that before, when we dialed in, we were dialing to 1-800 numbers where we were just talking, and it was pretty much a blank screen. So people were just detecting who you were through your voice, and you had to kind of translate that warmth, to them. So yeah, big change there, and we even had to have a professional come in and show us and consult how to present yourself.
well, we
So I
didn't
think,
have that.
well, I know, I understand.
Yeah.
That's the point that I think, because it needs work. It's almost a
Right.
professional thing, how you present yourself, and if you're awkward with your hormones and being a teenager,
Yeah.
I can only imagine that amplifies, the insecurities,
totally,
right?
bro. There's so many underlying insecurities already, and it's like you're kind of desperate to make yourself look good in front of these people. And especially me, I was trying to get validation from these people and trying to become friends, and I just got so desperate, which brings me to like the next theme of who you surround yourself with. And
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt,
no,
but
it's fine.
you asked me about our generation, but mostly personally, your dad grew up moving, to
Yeah.
different countries, so we didn't have the phone, right?
Yeah.
So it was almost like you had to go find your clan or your clique,
Right.
or the folks immediately. Now listen, what unified us is going through French school, right? So then you knew everybody was like, okay, they probably came from similar backgrounds, either their parents, they're on business, they could be diplomats, so there was also this weird mix. But it's already not easy growing up 12, 13. I think that the hardest transition for me was from India to New York,
Right.
from a
Well,
very
it's a very different culture.
very, very different culture. But as I said, we were still in the French school, but then New York was a beast of a city at the time, and was quite dangerous in certain areas, and very violent. And so that's an impression. So, but through sports is where I found my connection, like a bit like you're finding it. But yeah, you were gonna continue on that on the second major part there, the theme.
Your surrounding energies, I feel like that's like the second phase of coming back. And I'm just kind of going like through the school year, and this was a big learning step for me, and especially I'm going to take a lot of this stuff into junior year, because I totally found myself surrounding myself with people that I shouldn't have surrounded myself with. There was a whole period of time where there was this girl that I was friends with, and she was just causing problems, and it was making me miss out on other friendships or other relationships romantically. There was this boy that I really liked, and he liked me too, but he told me, he's like, I'm not gonna date you because the people that you surround yourself with, it's not healthy for you and it's not healthy for me, and I'm not gonna date someone that can't stand up for themselves. And he was right, and he may not have done it in the nicest way, but I took that kind of into account, and I just wanted to share, like, be sure that you know what you're going into with friend groups. The only people that were really like out there and super extroverted with me were like the wrong people. And I'm kind of grateful that I had that grace period where I was kind of quiet and I was able to observe cliques, which cliques are definitely a thing in high school. People say like, oh, cliques are not really a thing, but I go to school with over 3,000 kids. cliques are a thing. There's
Mm-hmm.
friend groups that are known and friend groups that are not known. So these extroverted people were kind of came from one of the biggest friend groups, and one of the friend groups, all they do is talk crap about each other, and the other friend group is kind of the same thing. They were just talking about other people, and I made the mistake of becoming friends with one of them, and I immediately became connected to that group. And I was like, I had to, at one point, it was kind of violent, not physically, but like mentally, and trying to figure out how to approach this. But it was so violent how she reacted to how I wanted to cut her off, because when I started noticing the red flags that she had been immediately waving since the beginning of the friendship, it was already like too big to not cause a huge problem. So be sure to focus on the people that you're around, because if you're around negative energy, it's just gonna ruin how you feel for the rest of the school year. And it's just, once I found my people, I found myself around positive, supporting energy, and I was able to get through my hard classes with them. We were able to have a laugh when times were hard. We were able to talk about our problems, and with this other girl, she would just like.
Well, you call it a mistake, and I just call it the normal pitfalls of navigating the perilous waters of a teenager and also of high school, because the mistake is not learning from
Right.
your experience, right?
Right.
So it's an experience that you have to go through, but you the way your personality functions, and even we talked about through the astrology episode, is you're a social being, and a bit like that. So then guess what ends up happening? Your energy attracts, you're a magnet
The
to
wrong
many
people.
it's not wrong, it's many types of people, right? Yes, are they wrong for you and you found out? Yes, but that doesn't mean that they don't come to you. And so then what you need to do, I think, is what you're preaching is just to take a deep breath, have a little patience, right?
It's okay.
And just and then observe. But how many times in Colorado
Yes.
have I told you, of course, with teenagers, in one ear out the other, where I said, stop calling people friends immediately.
Yeah.
I go, these are just acquaintances, right? And I said, the moment you call them friends, then things would go bad, and then you would find out what their true colors were.
Yes.
Because it's only a crisis or something that is deemed a crisis in the teenage world that provokes that chemical reaction for you to understand, well, I didn't like the way he or she or it or whatever we're calling each other these days handled it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think you're right. Be patient, take a deep breath, observe first, don't rush into things.
Yeah. And don't start unwanted drama. Be aware of what you're putting out there and what you're saying to people. And I'm kind of stupid in the sense where I just say what I want, and I kind of have no filter. So I don't think about things when I say them. So sometimes I just get a bad reaction from people, and I'm like, oh, I didn't think they were going to react like this. Or people, if you make an insensitive joke, you don't know how people are going to take it. So just be sure.
Well, that doesn't change.
Yeah, that's true. But just be aware of what you're saying, and be aware of the crowd that you're around, because there was a period of time, like I think around the new year, where it was like I felt a change in the people that I was around and the energy. And this girl still is kind of in our lives because she still talks about us, but we choose to ignore it, and you have to ignore that stuff and move on with your life, because if you're happy, then that's the best revenge that you can get on those people, without actually doing anything.
Correct. So that third thing that you wanted to bring up after finding your group of friends, what is it?
Well, social outings are, I'm really social, so I like going out and I like having fun and stuff, but the most important thing I could say that I took away from this year was get your shit done. Because...
And what's shit?
Your homework. Because I've had so many problems this year wasting my time wanting to hang out with friends and stuff, and not...
Or on the phone?
Yes, on the phone. Not taking care of the basics. And I've been yelled at so many times for it, and it's honestly not worth it. It's not very hard to finish that homework and turn it in, but I don't know why, but we've developed this fear of missing out. This kind of... I think we're trying FOMO, yeah. We're trying... I guess we're trying to catch up for freshman year, and I think I find myself trying to catch up too, and again trying to fulfill that stereotype of, oh, high school is so fun, this isn't High School Musical. Like, we're not about to break out in song.
Yeah,
And
Zac Efron
like,
left the building a long
like
time
babes,
ago.
there's homework, there's things that need to get done, and there's sports. Like, sports need to be taken care of too, you know? And social events will come. And again, bringing it back to the surrounding yourself with good people, if you attract good people and if you're getting your stuff done, there will be time for social events. And I've talked to older kids at my school that are in the IB program, which is the program that I'm going into next year. And it's a lot more work than just grade level classes, but they always say, like, if you get your stuff done, if you time manage, there's always going to be time for a social life, you know, and you're able to have fun with that. So don't like try to force like going out every single weekend and posting it, because people ultimately only care about themselves and they don't care about what you post on social media, you know? And if you have good friends, if you're getting your homework done and you have the occasional going out, then you're pretty happy, you know? And don't be miserable trying to catch up on homework at like 3 in the morning because you chose to go out with your friends the other night. And I did do that a lot of this school year, and I think that's a lesson that I'm going to take into junior year. It's just, especially going into the IB program, I think I need to focus more on my homework, because there's time to have fun and there's time to do work, and you have to learn that balance, you know?
Well, the FOMO, the fear of missing out, is a very big deal with human beings, you know, and I think teenagers feel it the most when they want to be part of a party, they want to have fun, and I certainly experienced that, and I had very limited time with swimming, as you do.
Yeah.
And taking care of your grades, taking care of your room, helping your mom out, etc. But even as an adult, I think that COVID year, or even year and a half extension, wherever you were at, and depending on the state, I felt it when I went back on my first business trip. Even as an adult, I just felt very sad because I felt like a year had been taken away, and it was and it's guess what did I mind over matter? I was there for all my meetings, well dressed up and everything. But at night, then we were indulging a little more than we normally do. So staying for that extra beer, staying for that extra drink, continuing the conversations, maybe an hour, pushing it, like you were saying, pushing those limits, or burning the candle at both ends. So I got through it, but I paid the price the next week coming back here. But it's because I felt like this anxiety of, I got to catch up. What happened? And this guy had a baby, and other folks I missed out. So it's just now that things are kind of returning to normal, take a deep breath.
I don't know how it is in other states with the whole COVID thing, but I'm lucky to live in Florida and not have as many restrictions and kind of be able to do what I want. But, just things are normal now. Things have settled down. Take a deep breath. You've caught up. Nothing's really going to happen. Nobody's died. It's just stupid teenagers going to the beach. Like, just take care of yourself and have good people around you, and talk to people and figure out your shit, because it's high school. We're going through a bunch of hormones and emotional phases and stuff, and I think it's just so important to have those bases, and that's kind of my main takeaway from this year, you know?
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's we were talking about trying to, the title of this piece, but this ain't no High School Musical works perfectly, but I had kind of a based off, I think, if it's song or movie, a most violent year, a most violent transition year, if we want to call it.
It was kind of violent.
But I think we just like the Cranes, we're growing up, we're strong, we learn new things every single day, and if we don't keep on learning, then what's the point, right? And I know, Mom and I and the rest of your family will be here to support you. So even though we might scream at you, because sometimes you deserve it, right?
Yeah.
And other times, yes, you don't, but you got to understand that there's a cumulative effect of these things, right? So anything else, to conclude, kind of, any other advice, solutions for kids that are out there that are feeling, maybe that lack of attention? It's just
right. If you're feeling alone, and especially after the whole COVID thing or whatever, I completely recommend getting out there, make some new friends, do something different, be extroverted. Like, the COVID year was a turning point for me. It's like, okay, well, look at that. We just got a year of our lives taken away. Like, look at how much stuff I could have gotten done. And just do something different, because you don't know when that's going to get taken away from you. So go out there, be that extroverted person, go meet someone else, go hang out here, but be sure to take care of your stuff, and be sure it's with the people that you love and people that support you, because if you're around people that just talk crap all the time, it gets boring at one point, and people aren't attracted to that, whether romantically, through friendships, through work. People are not attracted to negative energies.
Right.
So be that positive person, have fun, and don't worry, be happy. Honestly, that's kind of the motto in high school. Don't worry, be happy, but still worry about your basics. You know,
What you
because
can
if that's not
control,
done, yeah,
control it.
Yeah.
The other stuff,
it'll come. Like,
it'll
you know,
come.
social things, stuff like that, it'll come. Just figure your stuff out. But
Beautiful.
that's pretty much it.
Well, it's a great message for the kids out there. So whoever is listening and paying attention in her demographic, we certainly hope that these words rung true to you and offer some support. So to conclude this return, we I think from the beginning we started talking about odd news. For those who are tuning in for the first time, this is where we just find some odd, bizarre things. So you don't know,
weird, so
you don't know what I'm, I'm gonna let you react to this.
Surprising me.
So we've got three different themes, and actually one maybe that falls into that COVID theme. We're back in Japan. I'm sorry.
Nice.
People think that I'm picking on the Japanese, but I'm not. It just keeps on falling in my lap.
It's just not our fault they're weird.
No, it's not so much. We've already talked about it. Let's not bash them. So, in odd and unfortunate news, a 24-year-old man mistakenly received an entire Japanese town's COVID relief money.
Wait.
An entire town. It's about $359,000 for 463 households. He received the entire money due to a glitch from the bank. So this is he kept the cash.
Wait, what?
Wait, look at it. He
Wait.
kept the cash and he fled. But before he fled, check it out. He received the money, he kept quiet. He started depositing the money in small increments and transfers to his bank account. But by April 21st, the money was completely gone. He got caught.
Wait, he spent all the money?
The money was completely gone. We don't know where.
Oh,
but
okay,
then
okay.
also after he got caught, he fled. He disappeared. So I haven't had the update yet. I don't know if he's been caught.
Where you at?
Where you at?
Oh my
Where
God.
you at, young man? So this is the funny part that I love about the Japs. A person who knew him said that he was a good boy, young and handsome. So I guess if you're
Is that his mom?
so if you're good looking, you get away with murder, right? That's one.
What?
Second, his landlord was actually saying, hey, you know what? He paid for rent for the whole month of May before he disappeared. So this Japanese kid, maybe he's 25 now, is living the time of his life. God knows what he's doing with the $359,000. But what can I do?
God bless him.
God bless him.
Honestly.
So then we're talking about money. Let me go to my second odd news. So if you are reading the news, if you are paying attention to the stock market or any press briefings, the dreaded R word is appearing. Recession.
Oh, okay.
Okay? So it's appearing in the news because, hey, when you print too much money, when inflation is this high, when prices are high for houses,
Did
for
we not
gasoline.
learn from this from the 1920s?
We never learn. We're stupid.
Like, hello?
We talked about learning and experience, but human beings never learn when it comes to money. So the best part is you can talk to your neighbor, you can talk to your family, you can talk to your crypto friend or your financial advisor, but apparently the people you need to talk to understand what is the leading indicator of a recession, strippers. So they've determined that strippers
What?
and the strip clubs are actually a better forecasting tool for economic tumbling
Why? Because
down.
people ain't throwing racks no more?
Correct. because
oh my god.
and so a stripper called it the stock exchange, which obviously, unfortunately, comparing women to cattle, but the stock exchange,
Oh yeah.
is a better leading indicator to an economic recession.
I mean, that makes sense.
It makes sense, right? And she was saying, this lovely stripper was saying that the world of business and stripping are integrated. So when everybody talks about like we've got an integrated supply chain here at whatever UPS or whatever, in the end, actually, you go to the strip club and you find out what the hell's going on. So maybe you don't listen to Charles Schwab and their commercials or whatever it is, and you just go to Bear Assets down the road here. Apparently, your brother is it's a joke. He apparently frequents the place.
He's 11.
He gets upset every time I say, "Hey, you've been to Bear Assets, right?" So maybe Bear Assets is where it's at when we want to find out when the inflection point of the economy is coming.
All right.
To finish off today's odd news and podcast coming up, so what do men, as a stereotype, what do we get blamed for? There's a lot, right? But what's one thing that women complain about men a lot?
Oh, well, there's a lot of those.
I know, obviously, but
should I just guess one?
Yeah, try to guess one.
You guys always make comments when we're on our period, like insensitive.
It's not that one. Moving on.
Oh,
next.
Well, I'm trying to think. I haven't really had like a really serious
Forgetfulness.
Like the little things, like
little things.
Okay.
Men.
Well,
The
sense.
stereotype, right, abuelo, is that we forget things.
Okay.
Right?
I can see that, yeah.
And so there's even a meme that came out from Babylon Bee, which one of just like the Onion, the conservative side, that a man still would forget an event even if his wife tells him every day for a month about the event, right? But there's some good news. We finally have actually an excuse for this. Okay. Check this out. Okay. So, a 66-year-old man in Limerick, Ireland, right? After sex with his wife, so one props to, he's 63 and he's still getting it. So good for him, right? So that's, nobody, by the way, the article didn't mention that. I was like, he's 66, he's still getting on? Good for you.
Oh my
God. So whatever you're eating, grass-fed cows, the butter, some good Guinness, this guy is making love, which I love.
He's making a move. Good for him.
No, but this is the best part. After sex with his wife, and 10 minutes after, his memory was wiped out for an hour straight. An hour. So he was completely dazed. He forgot who he was. And apparently this condition is called transient global amnesia, TGA. Transient global amnesia. So men, if you're out there and you forget your wife's anniversary or something, blame it on TGA. But this is what's sweet and cute. Check it out. Okay. He forgot apparently about their wedding anniversary, but he didn't. They celebrated the day before. It's 24 hours later he had sex. He thought he forgot it when he regained his memory. And so isn't that cute? So this guy's my hero. Not only is he having sex at 66.
Boy, I know.
He lost his amnesia, and the first thing he says, "I'm so sorry, honey, I forgot." Come on, come on. So for the women who go after us about forgetting stuff, listen, we have a heart. Sometimes we do.
Boy, you need to go back to eating potatoes. What?
No, not potatoes. Just go back to. So for me, that really brought me hope. But for anybody,
hope for what?
Hope because women tend to blame men for forgetting events.
Yeah, because you're stupid like that.
Doesn't matter, but this guy did not. This guy actually.
But he actually forgot. Like.
No, he wiped out his memory for an hour. When he came back, he's like, "Oh, honey, I'm so sorry, I forgot our anniversary." She goes, "No, you didn't. We celebrated last year." I almost cried when I read that. It was fantastic.
What?
Because it's really sweet.
Okay.
So apparently, this condition, if you're suffering from transient global amnesia, I'm going to help men out. It happens between the age of 50 or 70. Abuelo, please pay attention. It can be due to physical exertion, sex, pain, stress, immersion in hot or cold water. So apparently I'm forgetting shit all the time being a swimmer.
It's really just life
Yeah.
gives you this.
So the joke is, for me, this list of how you can get TGA is pretty much being married or being a swimmer.
Literally, bro. What?
But they're the story. I really love that one.
Existing gets you this problem. Okay.
Shout out to the man in Limerick, Ireland, who his memory got wiped out. But men out there, listen, continue having sex as long as you can. If you have to use Viagra, but maybe he doesn't even need to because he feeds himself
Probably
well.
not,
Right?
bro.
Probably not, right?
Yeah, probably not. If
I don't
he's
think so.
66, he's still
I
good.
think this guy is just fucking top notch.
Yeah, he's probably like in shape.
And he's a sweetheart.
He was probably like a triathlete or something, so he was like still in shape himself.
Well, whatever. I don't care who he is. He's a champion in my book, and he's helping men out there.
Yeah.
And he's also given me a fantastic and other men fantastic excuse. I got TGA. I'm sorry.
Mom's gonna slap you. She's like, what the fuck do you mean, TGA?
I got TGA. But that's it for today.
Yeah.
Camila, thank you very much
Yeah.
for a lovely episode again. We appreciate you, pouring your heart out and your soul. This is what we do. We'll look forward. We have a ton of new material that we're going to present, whether it's looking at hip hop from the 90s versus now, whether we're going to review the Aha movie, the Top Gun movie. We have a ton of also different alcohol themes that are coming up with Seychelles soon. I got some Takamaka that's coming our way. You guys are going to discover what real good rum is from my island.
Yeah.
And as well as a beer episode around Poland.
Yeah.
So where can people find us, Camila?
Yeah, you can go check us out on Instagram at Submerge Podcast. You're going to get updates for every episode that we post. On YouTube, go subscribe at Submerge Podcast TV. And of course, on Spotify, which you can also watch the video on Spotify, which is a lovely new update. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you very much. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.